Hello students, I am Pranab Das. I usually upload videos on physics and mathematics for school and higher level. Today I bring a new video for you on the topic of electric field and charge. This is the first lecture regarding the chapter electrostatics. So watch this video. And don't forget to subscribe my channel, watch, like and share my videos so that it can reach more and more viewers, and it cannot be possible without the help of you. So let's begin. First, what is electric charge? Charge is not any matter, or it is not any energy. It is a property of any matter which helps to experience a force when that matter is placed in a magnetic field or an electric field. It is that property which helps any object to experience, to feel a force when it is placed inside an electric field or magnetic field. Usually, the charge is denoted by small or capital Q, and its unit is Coulomb. Its unit is Coulomb. What is 1 Coulomb? We know the method of electrolysis. There usually we take a glass container in which the solution, aqueous solution or molten state of any compound is taken, and inside it two metal plates are submerged. When electric current is passed through those two metal plates, usually called electrodes, then this solution is dissociated into ions, and the presence of ions help the electrical energy to pass through it, for which that compound chemically breaks. Now, if we take silver chloride or silver bromide solution, aqueous solution of silver bromide, as this liquid which is called electrolyte, and the current is passed, then for which amount of charge flows through the solution at the cathode, this amount 0.001118 gram of silver gets deposited. That is called 1 Coulomb. It is the amount of charge, it is equal to that amount of charge which, when flows through this solution, helps the silver ion to get deposited as silver atom by the amount of this at the cathode. Now let's discuss about the first law regarding this topic, that is Coulomb's law. He explained that if we place any two charges anywhere, suppose one charge is denoted by Q2, the other one is Q1 and the other one is Q2, and the two charges are kept at a distance of r, then according to him, the amount of force of attraction or repulsion between them, if the two charges are opposite in nature, then they will attract each other. If they are alikely, then they will repel each other. Whatever the force is, that force, according to him, is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That means if we increase any one or both charges, then that will increase the force between them. Also, if we bring them closer, R decreases, that means the force increases. And if we move them away, then the force between them will decrease. So if it is increased, then by its squared amount, the force will increase or decrease. So combining these two, we get this. And when equal sign comes, we know a constant comes. This constant initially is taken as K. This is called dielectric. We will discuss it later. Now, K's value, experimentally, it is found that K's value is equal to this. And what is this quantity? Its name is epsilon. And it is called the permittivity of the intervening medium. What is permittivity? It is termed as permission. That means this charge starts attracting this charge or repelling this charge. That repulsive or attractive force is nothing but a kind of flow of energy. And that energy flows through this region. And that flow of energy is completely controlled by the medium between the two charges. If that medium is good conducting, then it allows large amount of energy to flow through it. If it is insulating or semi-insulating by nature, then it will not allow such amount of energy to pass. So that allowness, that granting of the medium to flow the energy through it is called permittivity. K is called permittivity. Now, if the intervening medium is vacuum or air, we separately write this term as epsilon naught. This is called naught, and this happens for air or vacuum. If something else is there except air or vacuum, then epsilon naught will turn to epsilon. So for air, this same equation will turn to F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. Now in this case, these two charges are taken in a plane, in a two-dimensional frame. If these two charges are taken in a three-dimensional space, suppose here is the charge Q1, here is the charge Q2. The position vector of this charge is R1. Position vector of this charge is R2. Then what will be this distance? This is R1, this is R2. So simply this is R between Q1 and Q2. This is the R vector. So we can use the vector triangle rule. And according to that rule, R1 plus R is equal to R2. So R vector is equal to this. So in this case, the Coulomb's law will turn to F is equal to Q1 Q2 by square of that distance. Square of that distance. So definitely this is a vector. So we have to take its magnitude. So modulus of this and square of this. Now the next topic is field intensity, electrical field intensity. Suppose anywhere there is a charge Q. Now it tries to attract or repel any other charge, and around it the space where that force of attraction or repulsion of this charge on other charge acts. If we bring a new charge, suppose Q1 charge here, and it feels nothing almost. Now after covering a certain distance from here, it feels the attraction or repulsion. If it is negative, it is positive, then it feels attracted. So this part around it, this space inside which that foreign charge first starts feeling the force of attraction or repulsion, that space around this charge is called electric field. The region, the three-dimensional space in which the three-dimensional space around any charge in which when a new charge is brought in feels the force of attraction or repulsion is called the electric field of the first charge. So what is electric field intensity? Field intensity. According to Coulomb's law, we know that the force of attraction or repulsion between the two charges is this. Field intensity is defined as the amount of force felt by a unit positive charge when it is brought into the field of another charge. Here is a charge, it produces a certain space around it in which when any other charge is placed, it feels the attraction or repulsion due to this charge. It will start repelling or attracting this charge, this new charge. If this new charge is 1 coulomb by amount, then the amount of force felt by this charge is called the field intensity at this location. If the location changes, if the distance decreases or increases, accordingly the force of attraction or repulsion will change. So according to Coulomb's law, when we determine the field intensity, we actually change this symbol a little bit. Just for F we write E. When we write F, that is the force between any two amount of charges. When we write E, then we have to understand that it signifies the force between a charge and a unit charge. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, or you can write epsilon. Sometimes the medium is different from air or vacuum. So now I am writing epsilon naught. The first charge Q1 is Q. The second charge Q2 is 1 by, if we assume the distance as r, then it is r square. If you try to define its direction, to definitely according to the force of attraction or repulsion, the direction of force will be towards the charge or away from the charge. Now the next topic is electric dipole. Let's consider a small piece of iron. A small piece of iron. Since it is metal and solid, so the atoms are extremely closely packed together. The interatomic gap is almost negligible. They are almost in contact with each other. And when two atoms which are very close to each other, the electron in each atom which revolves along the outermost shell during their revolution definitely come once at a certain moment, they come very close to each other, in fact closest to each other, and then the mutual repulsion, because both carries negative charge, then the mutual repulsion will be the highest, and that moment they, due to that repulsive force, they may ignore the attraction of the nucleus and get out of the orbital structure. When they do so, they will stay outside the atom, and then we call it free electron. When one or more electrons do like that, this atom turns into a cation because it loses the electron. So in this manner, in solid metals, each atom loses one or more electrons which stay in the interatomic gaps. And as a result of that, we can find large number of cations and free electrons. The electrons, after removed out of the atom turns into cations. So we can find large number of cation and electron pair in that lamina. These pair of one cation and one electron usually stay at a very negligible distance, because this is atomic distance. So this type of pair is called electric dipole. And later you will find that these electric dipoles are actually responsible for the electrical and magnetic nature of any substance. Usually in normal case, these electric dipoles are randomly arranged. They are randomly stay inside this lamina. So we can define the electric dipole as when two equal and opposite charges stay at a very close distance, very negligible distance, then they together is called electric dipole. So if we consider an electric dipole, suppose this is plus q, this carries a charge of plus q and this carries a charge of minus q. So these together will form a dipole. Suppose this dipole's length, distance between the two charges is 2L. And from its midpoint, let's draw a bigger diagram. Here it is plus, here it is minus q and it is plus q. Are at A and B. The midpoint of this dipole is O. The length of the dipole is 2L. From the midpoint O, at a distance R, suppose there is a point P. Now, if we place a unit positive charge at P, then what happens? Definitely this plus q will starts repelling that charge because that is also plus, this is plus, and this minus q starts attracting that positive charge. Now previously we have learned that when between the two charges one charge is unit by amount, then we can call the Coulombian force as electric field intensity. So due to this plus q charge, here the field intensity is suppose E1, and due to this the field intensity is E2. Since it is attractive, so it is directed towards the dipole and it repels that charge, so it moves away from the dipole. So according to the definition, E1 is K, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon or epsilon naught according to the medium taken, Q by distance square of the distance. What is the distance between this B and P? This whole distance is R, this is 2L, this is the midpoint, so this distance is L. So this distance is R minus L. And this force is along OP. What is E2? This is R, this is L, so the whole distance is R plus L. And this is along PO. Since this is closer to P, this point B is closer to P, according to Coulomb's law, the force of attraction or repulsion is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. That means when the distance is less, the force is more. So that means the repulsive force is more than the attractive force because this negative charge is further from the point P. That means there will be a net field intensity. And what is that net field intensity? Here two vectors act. This is E1, that is E2. E1 is greater, E2 is smaller. So what is the resultant between E1 and E2? Obviously the difference between this and that. So we can write E net is equal to E1 minus E2. Let's consider only magnitude. That means this minus this, and K, Q are the common factors, so take it out. Now simply solving this, we can get 4 or L by this. Now let's consider again that iron lamina. I have told you that there are so many electric dipoles arranged randomly. They have no manner, they are not aligned, or they at present they are not forming any type of particular arrangement, specific arrangement. They are randomly arranged. Now if we take this iron lamina into an electric field or a magnetic field, what will happen? Electric field means, suppose there is a lot of cations there, and at a distance there are a lot of electrons, so here a positive potential grows, here a negative potential grows, and from positive to negative potential a flow of energy always acts, and that is called the electric field. If this lamina is brought into this electric field, what will happen? This energy starts traveling through the material of the lamina, and that energy immediately tries to make them aligned. Suppose you know that when there is a teacher in a class, all the students are behaving in a disciplined manner, but when there is no teacher in the class, you know what happens. So now there is no teacher, so all the students are in random manner, but when teacher comes, they are brought aligned, and the arrangement will become like this. The energy bring them aligned, and to bring them aligned, every dipole has to rotate. Suppose a dipole is like this, and when energy flows through them, that energy tries to rotate them, tries to spin or orient them in a proper manner. So a torque has to be applied. This energy applies a torque on each dipole to rotate them, to make them aligned in this kind of manner. And that tendency to rotate produced inside the dipole is called electric dipole moment. We know moment of a force is what? Suppose there is a rod, and when you apply a force like this and a force like this, that these two parallel but oppositely directed force produce a tendency of rotation inside that rod, which makes the rod to rotate like this. This is called the moment of force, and moment of force we know is equal to each force into the distance between the two forces, the perpendicular distance between the two forces. Each force into perpendicular distance between the two forces. This is the moment of the force. Now if the charge is bigger, then the energy has to produce more force. If the charge is less, then the force to be applied is less. So the charge, the force is directly proportional to the charge. That means this relation also can be written as charge into distance between the two charges. And in this case, each charge is valued as q and the distance between the two charges is 2l. So if we separate those two factors q and 2l, then what remains? K, and in this case 2r and q into 2l. This factor is called electric dipole moment. And electric dipole moment, it is called electric dipole moment, and this is usually denoted by small p. So finally E net is equal to K into 2pr upon r square minus l square whole square. Usually by the definition of dipole, we know that when two charges are kept at an extremely small distance, like atomic distance or molecular distance. So this 2l is almost negligibly small. So its half is further small. So if we ignore, if in practical situation this r is much greater, much larger than this l, then we sometimes may ignore this l in compared to r. So for that we can write E net is 2pr by r to the power 4. So 2p upon rq when L is very less than R for that case. So this is the amount of electrical field intensity, that means the force felt by a unit positive charge when it is placed at a distance from the midpoint of an electric dipole. Previously we have learned that the force felt by a unit positive charge due to only one charge, that is called normal field intensity. Now we can see this is the amount of electric field intensity, this electric field intensity due to a dipole. So this is the force felt by a unit positive charge due to two charges of opposite manner together. Since this point lies on the axis of this dipole, so sometimes it is called the electric field intensity at axial position. Axial position. Now the same thing we can determine when that unit charge is placed. Suppose this is the dipole, this is the dipole, and this is its midpoint. This is minus q, this is plus q, this is the midpoint O, and this is the perpendicular bisector of the dipole. And when you place a plus 1 coulomb charge, this distance is r, this distance is r, and this point is p. Immediately this positive charge starts repelling this charge. Suppose this is E1. Suppose this is E1. And this charge starts attracting this charge. Suppose this is E2. This angle, let's consider theta. This is theta. So if you divide, if you resolve these two forces E1 and E2, for E1, let's draw this diagram here. This is the dipole AB minus Q plus Q of length 2L. This is its midpoint. This is the perpendicular bisector P plus 1. This starts repelling, this starts attracting. This is E1, this is E2, this is theta, this is R. So when you break these two forces E2 and E1 by alternate property, this is also theta and correspondingly this is also theta. So this component is definitely E1 sin theta, and in this way there is E1 cos theta. This is E2. So by breaking this along this, that is E2 sin theta, and along this E2 cos theta. Now these two charges are equal. These two distances are also equal. So these two forces E1 and E2 by amount, by magnitude are equal. So when we resolve these two forces into components, E1 sin theta, E2 sin theta are also equal, but these two forces act through the same point in opposite direction on the same line. So they definitely will cancel each other. So the existence of these two forces ultimately will not be there. But these two components, since will act in the same direction, so the net intensity at that point due to this dipole will be equal to the sum of these two forces. Now E1 and E2 are equal in magnitude, so we can write it as 2E1 cos theta. Now what is E1? This is the charge plus Q, this is the charge plus 1 coulomb, and this is the distance between the two. Now 2L, so this is L, this is the midpoint O of the dipole, this is L, this is R, so this is root over R square plus L square. So that means E1 is 1 by 4 pi epsilon or epsilon naught Q by distance square, that means R square minus L square, sorry, R plus whole square. And then into cos theta. In this triangle, what is cos theta? Base by hypotenuse. That means L upon this under root R square plus L square. Now in this case also we see that Q into 2L, that means each charge into distance between the two charges, and what we know, this is equal to electric dipole moment. Electric dipole moment, that is P, and these two combine together to form to the power 3 by 2. So this is the amount of electric field intensity due to a dipole when a positive charge, unit positive charge, is kept at a certain distance on the perpendicular bisector of the dipole. So in this case also, if we at a certain moment of time think that this L in compared to this L, this R is large enough, then we may ignore the L with respect to R. So for R very L very less than R, E net is equal to, this is ignored, so R square, these two will cancelled out, so R cube, P by R cube. So from the result we can write, or we can understand that the field intensity at the axial position, by the way, this field intensity is sometimes called equatorial position. Equatorial position, because this point, this positive charge is placed on the perpendicular bisector. So we can easily understand that intensity at axial position is twice the intensity at equatorial position. So students, that's all for today's lecture, and it will be continued in the next video. The next topics will be discussed regarding electrostatics. Hope you will be get benefited from this video, and for that you must have to share and like the videos, and obviously don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.